Om. Om.
ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः प्रज्ञानां शुप्रतानैस्थिरचरनिकर व्यापिभिर्व्याप्य लोकान् भुक्त्वा भोगान् स्थविष्ठान् पुनरपि धिषणोद्भासितान् कामजन्यान् पीत्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् स्वपिति मधुरभुङ् मायया भोजयन्नः माया सङ्ख्यातुरीयं परममृतमजं ब्रह्म यत्तन्नतोऽस्मि यो विश्वात्मा विधिज विषयान् प्राश्य भोगान् स्थविष्ठान् पश्चाच्चान्यान् स्वमति विभवान् ज्योतिषा स्वेन सूक्ष्मान् सर्वानेतान् पुनरपि शनैः स्वात्मनि स्थापयित्वा हित्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् विगतगुणगणः पात्वसौ नस्तुरीयः
Mandukya Upanishad, Chapter 3, Karika 14. Read.
जीवात्मनोः पृथक्त्वं यत् प्रागुत्पत्तेः प्रकीर्तितं भविष्यद्वृत्त्या गौणं तन्मुख्यत्वं हि न युज्यते
Before the creation, namely in the Karma Kanda portion, whatever that difference or distinction between Jiva and Paramatma that is told in many ways is only secondary in nature. It cannot be taken as primary because afterwards the Shruti itself is going to establish the identity, the oneness between Jiva and Paramatma. Therefore, the duality that is discussed, not discussed, described in different context. In Karma Kanda portion, that before the statement of the Shruti describing the Utpatti, creation, is only secondary in nature. Bhashya. Ihacha Upanishatsu Upapatti Pralayadi, from there.
इह च
149 line 2.
इह च उपनिषत्सु उत्पत्तिप्रलयादिवाक्यैः जीवपरमात्मनोः एकत्वम् एव प्रतिपिपादयिषितम्.
So we have seen this. Iha means Yato va imani bhutani jayant, etc. The Shruti statement cited earlier. Then in Upanishadic such statements, Utpatti Pralayadi Vakyaihi, by the statements describing the creation or dissolution, what is told, what is intended to be revealed? Jiva Paramatmanoho Ekatvam Eva. Identity between Jiva and Paramatma only. Pratipipadayishitam. is intended to be revealed, intended to be established. And these statements are not for any other purpose. For example, read Tattvamasi.
तत्त्वमसि अन्यो असौ अन्यः अहमस्मि इति न स वेद इत्यादिभिः.
So see here, what is intended to be established is identity. Chandogya, 6th chapter. Tat Tvam Asi. Tvam, you the Jiva, is Tat the Ishvara. Means from you Jiva remove avidya and its karya. From Ishvara remove Maya and its karya. What remains Chaitanya, and Chaitanya is one and the same. This is how the Mahavakya functions. Tattvamasi. Then Brihadaranyaka 1:4-10. Anyaha asau anyaha asmiti no saveda. The person who takes I am distinct from the deity that I invoke. Anyaha asau, that deity which I am invoking, different from what? Anyaha different from me. Iti, the one who takes in this manner, saha na veda. He doesn't know the truth. The Atma of the deity and Atma of you, me are one and the same. That is the truth. They don't know. After what is the statement said? Devanam pashoyeva sa. Such persons taking deities and different from oneself, invoking them for gaining different results, are like the pashu, cattle, or this sheep of devas, in the sense a shepherd will never like to lose any sheep from his herd. Like that, these devas don't like that this person gets the Atma Jnana, Brahma Jnana. Because once they gain Brahma Jnana, they are not going to take to karmas, they are not going to offer the oblations which is necessary for them survival. So that doesn't mean that the devas have got the free hand to deprive the jivas from gaining Atma Jnana. No. So long as one sticks to the norms of sadhanas, they can't do much because Ishwara Anugraha is there. If you falter, they will find an excuse to obstruct you. So no saveda ityadivi. By such statement, you can add there ekatvam pratipaditam. So ityadivi ekatvam pratipaditam. Or means by this, what is established is ekatva, oneness between jiva and Paramatma. Or you can take, as Andagiri puts it, ekatvam eva pratipipadayishitam iti purvena sambandha. Earlier, that is also told no. Ekatvam eva pratipipadayishitam, there it can be connected. Continue.
अतः उपनिषत्सु एकत्वं श्रुत्या प्रतिपिपादयिषितं भविष्यति इति भाविनीम् एकवृत्तिम् आश्रित्य लोके भेददृष्ट्यनुवादः गौणः एव इति अभिप्रायः.
Ataha, therefore. What is the therefore? Such statements of Shruti which describe the duality in the Karma Kanda are like the statement Odanam Pachati. Earlier page, that is 148, last line, last phrase. यथा ओदनम पचति इति भविष्यद वृत्त्या तद्वत्. Just as he cooks boiled rice. Actually, it should be told he cooks the rice. But tandulan pachati. He cooks boiled rice should have been told. But it said odanam. Odanam is boiled rice. He cooks rice should have been told. But he said he cooks boiled rice. In the sense, boiled rice is going to get ready now. From the future standpoint, instead of telling tandulan rice, you say odanam boiled rice. Like that, here, though it is this description of the duality only from the standpoint that it is going to be non-dual swarupa, which is going to be established, from that standpoint it is told. So therefore he says, ataha, therefore, Upanishadsu ekatvam shrutya pratipipadishtam bhavishyati iti bhavinim ekatva vrittim ashritya. Ashritya, having resorted to bhavinim ekavrittim, the future identity between Jiva and Paramatma that is going to be established, having taken the recourse to that, having resorted to that. So what is that? In the loke means the notion of duality that is prevalent in the world, taking into account the notion of duality that is prevalent in the world from the ignorant person's standpoint, that loke bheda drishtanuvadaha. The restatement of the bheda drishti means notion of duality, which is among the ignorant people. Therefore, restated of that, it is only gaunaha eva iti abhiprayaha. Gaunaha eva. It is like, it is gauna only, secondary nature. It is of the secondary nature only. Tippani Kara gives an interesting example. He is just I think in South India, this practice is that when a newly wedded couple is brought out, and what is called as Arundhati Darshana, some mudra they do and ask the couple or either of them or both, I don't know what it is, to see in the sky as if showing Arundhati. Arundhati is the wife of Vasishtha. According to in Sanatana Dharma, the most ideal couple is Arundhati and Vasishtha. The secret of their mutual relation is that Arundhati used to go do any sacrifice to keep Vasishtha happy. Vasishtha used to take to any sacrifice to keep who Arundhati happy. So that was the secret of their life. So therefore, these two are considered as the ideal couple. So every couple should have such attitude. That's what is expected. That should. But daytime, you would do mudra or shirshasana. How can you see the Arundhati there? It is only bhavishyat vritya. Night, they are supposed to see that. But daytime, that one ritual is done of seeing the Arundhati. Like that. Presently, no doubt what is spoken is duality only, which is restatement of what is going on in the world, only to show afterward the non-dual nature of Atma. Anuvada, gaunaha eva iti abhiprayaha. It is secondary in nature. Or from other standpoint, it can take up. What is the other standpoint? Read athava.
अथवा तदैक्षत तत्तेजो सृजत इत्याद्युत्पत्तेः प्राक् एकमेवाद्वितीयम् इति एकत्वं प्रकीर्तितम्.
athava, or other way of looking at this such statement. Tadaikshata sadeva somya idamagrasit. Beginning of Chandogya. After it is said, Tadaikshata 623 Chandogya. Means that Sat, which was before the creation, he is non-dual in nature. Aikshata, deliberated. Let me become many, etc. Tat tejaha asrujata. It created the teja, fire principle. Ityadi, such statement. Utpattehe prag. Before creation that took place, ekam eva advitiyam iti ekatvam prakirtam. Sadeva some idamagrasi. And referring to it, that Sat as Tat refers to what? Non-dual Brahman only. So therefore, before Srishti, Utpattehe Prak. Prak. Ekam eva advitiyam. Chandogya 622. Only one non-dual entity, Sat, was there. Iti ekatvam prakirtam. Very clearly it is stated that the existence of non-dual Sat Brahman. And same thing afterward referred to as this continuing.
तदेव च तत्सत्यं स आत्मा तत्त्वमसि इति एकत्वं भविष्यति इति तां भविष्यद्वृत्तिम् अपेक्ष्य यज्जीवात्मनोः पृथक्त्वं यत्र क्वचित् वाक्ये गम्यमानं तद्गौणम्.
So Tadevacha, that Sat itself, Tat Satyam, Chandogya 8 to 16. Tat Satyam, that itself is what? Satya, Trikala Badita Vastu. Saha Atma, that Sat itself is what? Atma. And that Atma is Shetaketu. Tat, that Sat Atma, Tvam Asi. You are, means it is your Swarupa. Iti, in this manner, Ekatvam Bhavishyati. Ekatvam Bhavishyati. So that is the oneness will be established. The oneness will be established. Iti. Bhavishyati iti. You can add there avagatam. So it is understood. Then tam bhavishyad vrittim apeksha. From the standpoint of the future, or from the future standpoint, the standpoint of what is going to be told thereafter in future, yad jivatmano prataktvam, whatever the distinction between jiva and atma told earlier, yatra kvachid vake, wherever in the Shruti statement, gamyamanam, that which comes to our notice or known, tad gaunam, that those statements are what? Secondary in nature. Because Shruti has got in view the identity that is going to be revealed thereafter. From that standpoint, wherever in Shruti, if you come across the statements of duality, they are secondary in nature. And the rule behind this was told in the Odanam Pachati. Continue.
यथा ओदनं पचति तद्वत्.
Yatha, just as Odanam Pachati. See, what should have been told? Tandulan Pachati. Boils the rice. Is that boils the boiled rice? Pachati iti tadvat, which illustration was given earlier, like that, they is to be taken as secondary nature. Now another doubt is coming. That is true, sir. Before creation, Sadeva Soma Idvagra Asit was there. Non-dual Brahma was there. But Shruti very clearly tells us from that non-dual Brahma, the dual Jagat is born. And dual Jagat continues. Maybe it was earlier. Paramatma, that is non-dual. So one Mahatma was telling, when he was a school student, the teacher must have read some Bhashya here and there and all Upanishad, etc. must have read. Because, see, earlier there was Paramatma. But now that Paramatma has become the Jagat and Samsari. Paramatma status gone. Who is now Samsari Jiva? That means he took that creation to be real. Not so. Therefore, though such statements of creation are there in the Shruti, that creation cannot be taken as real. This is now going to be told. Let us see the context in which Gaudapadacharya is making this statement as in the Karika 15. Read Bhashya, Nanu.
ननु यदि उत्पत्तेः प्राक् अजं सर्वम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं तथा अपि उत्पत्तेः ऊर्ध्वं जातम् इदं सर्वं जीवाश्च भिन्नाः इति.
Nanu. This is the doubt. Purvapaksha. Yadi utpattehe prak. No, not yadi. Yadyapi. It should be yadyapi. Yadyapi, even though utpattehe prak. Before the creation, utpattehe prak. What was that? Ajam, unborn. Sarvam, ekam eva advitiyam. Everything was one homogeneous, unborn Brahma Sat. Tathapi, your reading is Tathatyutpatte. It should be Tathapyutpatte. Earlier, in some Yadyutpatte, as in some version reading, Yadyutpatte there, it should be Yadyapyutpatte. And here, Tathatyutpatte should be Tathapyutpatte. Tatha api utpatte. Tathapi, even then, Utpatte urdhvam. After the actual creation, idam sarvam jatam. This entire Jagat is born. Not only that, bhinnaha jivascha jataha. Different types of jivas are born. The Purvapaksha says, yes, sir, it is true that before creation, non-dual Brahma alone was there. But after creation, from that, this actual Jagat of variegatedness with distinct jivas is born. Iti. Iti means, this is what who has said. This being so, what means is, how do you establish non-duality? Maybe before creation it was non-dual, but now it is dual only. How do you establish duality now when the dual Jagat is there, different jivas are there? That is what the Purvapakshi intends to tell. For him, this who Purvapaksha says, Siddhanti says, sir, please don't say so. Continue.
Ma evam.
Evam ma vada. Please don't say. See, in the Ramayana, when Sita was abandoned in the forest, when she was carrying, forlorn, she was weeping. Or Lakshmana had to do this because of the command of Rama. Because he has ordered him, don't question me, please do that. She was weeping. Then what happened was, the Valmiki was going from that side, and then he found. Of course, he inquired, etc. Of course, not, I don't, he must be knowing also what it is all about. Anyway, Vyavaharta inquired, etc. He said, don't worry, I will take care of it. And he took the hermitage. Then all these Rishi Patnis came. Around many sages were there, their wives were there also, and they were talking. After hearing, one Rishi Patni said, what, your husband is so cruel? When she said, my husband is so cruel, you know what Sita did? She took her hand and shut means not with a force, etc. Shut the mouth of that Rishi Patni and requested, please don't say so. He is a great Dharmatma. So therefore, that is what Mayavam. What is that? Mayavam. Shrimad told Mayavam. Evam Mavada. Don't tell that he is cruel. The great Dharmatma. See, nowadays, this too much of journalism, mass media, they become a business. In some conversation, one journalist lady who wanted to put down the other person who was advocating Sanatana Dharma. He said, are you projecting Rama, who abandoned his wife in such a condition, as the ideal person for people now to do that? See, what type of questions? To such people, he said, from where did you get it, all these things? She has to say, she has not read Ramayana. With some news, this Ramayana, few things are known to everyone. Ramayana. But did you probe into the Ramayana? Did you see that Ramayana? What was the outlook of Sita at that time? Did she complain? Of course. She was totally sorrow-ridden, that is true. But she didn't find fault with Rama, because she knows he has abandoned her as a king to see that their wrong notion should not be there. Because those days, queen was not simply a queen. She was taken as the mother by all people. Even a common man who has got a wrong notion about that, he has to see that that blemish should not be there for that throne. I think in Shakespeare something is there, no? Caesar's wife must be beyond all blames. So like that. But what was the outlook of Sita? She didn't find fault. It's the dharma. Why? What was the plight of Rama? He was totally sorrow-ridden. As a duty of a king, he did it. But as a person, he suffered the separation from Sita. He was not taking interest in the administration. He was being told, look, you are neglecting in administration. Sometimes he has to do after. Not that he wanted to die. Be such a beloved wife, he had to give up to establish dharma or discharge the duty of a king. That is why what Rama did, everything is what? Ideal dharma. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma. If dharma were to take a form, it is Rama only. Again, these people point out Agni Pariksha. Why he should give the fire test? That replier was said, Madam, suppose you are from UP and your husband, that was who is a king, you were kidnapped by a person from Lanka and you are the wife of a king. Suppose your husband can pick up anyone because he is a king, anyone, he can get any woman as a wife and forget you. He could do that. But if he comes all the way to Lanka, not nowadays flights, walking through the forest and rescues you, who will you choose? Either such a husband or a person who gets married with someone. See, Rama all the way came to Lanka and defeated Ravana and this. But at the same time, he is a king. He cannot accept her without proving his chaste nature. He wanted to prove the chaste nature of this. Here also, these generals should be told, look, you jump in the fire, what will happen? What will happen? Your husband will be behind the bars. Is it not? You get burned. But Sita came out of that unscathed. That shows Sita is not an ordinary person. Do you expect anyone to come out of the fire like that? That shows. Such questions cannot be asked in the case of Sita. In fact, why this Agni Pariksha? Answer is not available. This is one thing. From the outwardly standpoint, it is to prove the chaste nature of Sita. That's true. But there is another reason behind that, which is not available in Valmiki Ramayana. You have to go to Adhyatma Ramayana in the Brahmanda Purana, composed by Vyasa. All this Ramayana was a drama to kill who? Ravana. Now they were in the Dandaka forest. The time has come for Ravana to kidnap Sita. Who is Sita? Lakshmi. Can this rogue Ravana touch her and kidnap her? Lakshmi? Not possible. So, when Lakshmana was not there, this dialogue took place between Rama and Sita. And he says, Rama said, now the time of drama has come. You be safe in the fire principle. And a replica was made of Sita. Thereafterwards, whatever role Sita played was this dummy Sita, this replica of Sita. And once she was recovered after who Ravana was killed, the real Sita has to be got back. And where is she? Kept safe in the custody of fire. That is where Agni Pariksha. Sita jumped in the fire and the Agni Devata presented, she is a pure chaste lady. The drama. They forget that Rama and Sita are what they are in reality. Paramatma, they are not ready to accept. They think Mr. Rama and Mrs. Rama, and this Mr. Rama doesn't have his birth certificate at all, and therefore his birthplace cannot be ascertained, is it not? It's all going in the court. Some Hindu lawyers are asking for the birth certificate of Rama. Such people, what they can know about this means what nature of Rama, etc. Anyway, so Mahaevam, sir, please don't say so. Like Sita said, please don't say. He is a great Dharmatma. He is not a cruel person. So Mahaevam. Then what? Continue. Anyarthatvat.
अन्यार्थत्वात् उत्पत्तिश्रुतीनाम्
Utpatti Shrutinam Anyarthatvat. They are meant for establishing something else. Something anya. What is the something else? The duality that is shown now is not real. The reality is only non-duality, Advaya. From the state standpoint of the future thing to be established for a specific purpose, now they are shown to be in terms of duality, or Shruti speaks of duality. So Utpatti Shruti now, the statement of Shruti which describe the creation, really not meant for describe the actual Shruti. It is only a means for discover you, to make you discover your Swarupa. What is that other purpose will be described in the next verse, next Karika. Upaya Sotaraya, etc. So Anyarthatvad Utpatti Shrutina. Because he says, he reminds us that this defect, as it were, in terms of contradiction Shruti was already dispelled earlier. Where, let us see now. Purvamapi.
पूर्वमपि परिहृतः एवायं दोषः
Purvamapi. Earlier also. Where in earlier Karikas, same chapter 3, Karika 10. Ayam doshaha. This defect of seeming Shruti Virodha, seeming contradiction between the Shruti statement. At one place, duality is described, other place, non-duality is established. So this Parirutaha is what? It is already dispelled, means it already answered. Where? Continue.
स्वप्नवत् आत्ममाया विसर्जिताः संघाताः घटाकाशोत्पत्तिभेदात् इव भेदात् इव जीवानाम् उत्पत्तिभेदादिः इति
Swapnavad Maya Visarjita. Chapter 3, Karika 10. All these dual jagat or dual the different things are Visarjita, are produced like what? Swapnavad, like the dream. How? Atmamaya. Atmamaya Visarjita means Atmamaya Visarjita. Produced by Atmamaya. Here Maya stands for avidya, not magic. So by ignorance of oneself, all these are produced. versus the sanghata, embodiment. So also, this is one way. Other way, illustration of Ghatakasha was given. You can add there tatha, so also. Ghatakashotpatti Vedadivat. Like the birth of pot species when different pots are made. Like that, Jivanam Utpatti Veda. Jivas, different types of jivas are seen to be born because what Utpatti Veda? Deha Utpatti Veda. Because of the birth of different types of bodies. Just as because of producing different types of pods, it appears as though different types of pod species are born. So also, because of the birth of different types of bodies, different types of jivas appear as though are born. Iti. Continue.
इतः एव उत्पत्तिभेदादिश्रुतिभ्यः आकृष्य इह पुनः उत्पत्तिश्रुतीनाम् ऐदम्पर्य प्रतिपिपादयिष उपन्यासः
प्रतिविविदाशय करेक्ट ठीक है
प्रतिपिपादयुषयोपन्यासः प्रतिपादयुष
ठीक है इतः एव from hence from this or for this purpose only hence from this उत्पत्ति भेदादि श्रुतिभ्यः आकृष्य from the statements of Shruti which speak of different types of creation akrishya having borrowed from taken from different types of Shrutis which describe the creation punaha further iha now in this Upanishad punaha again Utpatti Shrutina. The main purpose of the Shruti statements which describe the creation, what is that? Aidamparya Prativipadayashaya. So, Aidamparya means having this purpose, having this substance or this scope to be established. What is that? Namely, Brahmatmaika Paratva. To establish this fact, Idamparya. What is it? The identity between Brahma and Jiva. Pratipadishaya. With this desire or intention, Upanyasaha. Here is an explanation in Karika 15. Read Karika 15.
लोह विस्फुलिंगाद्यैः सृष्टिर्याचोदितान्यथा उपायस्सोऽवताराय नास्ति भेदः कथंचन
मृत लोह विस्फुलिंगाद्यैः अन्यथा या सृष्टि च उदिता सा or saha. If you take sa srishti. If you take saha srishti prakara. That way you have to take because gender differs. Saha srishti prakara. that mode of creation. Avataraya upaya. Avataraya upaya. Kathanchana भेदः न अस्ति. कथंचन भेदः न अस्ति. See, Brullo Havistulinga, etc. This Pura Paksha is not a lay person. He has studied Upanishads, but missed the Tatparya. The records, like what is that? Mundaka, etc. Just as from the burning firewood, many sparks emerge similar to the fire. Like that, from Brahma, many jivas are born. And it takes, earlier it was Sadeva Somya, but now it has become manifold Jagat Jiva. That's what he wants to establish. From that standpoint, Mrut, or that is from the mud, many pots are made. Chandogya. Loha, one iron from which many iron instruments like Nakanikrindana, like the nail cutter, etc., told in the Chandogya. Again, Visfulingaha, many sparks emerge from the same fire. Adyahi, by such statements of Shruti, Ya, whatever, Anyatha. Anyatha means differently. It should be Vipsa. Vipsa means repetition. Anyatha, Anyatha. Differently, Anyatha, Anyatha. It should be taken twice. Anyatha, Anyatha. Ya, whatever, cha, Srishti, Udita. Udita, described. Told means described. Whatever Srishti, creation that is described, Saha, that Srishti Prakara. Also that, if you take Sa, which is not there, that Srishti or that mode of Srishti is what? Avataraya. Avataraya means to introduce, to bring down, or to reveal. Avataraya. Upayaha, means the statement of Shrutis describing creation is only a means to reveal what Brahman. Avatara, reveal, introduce what? Brahma. Shruti has no tatparya in telling you the real creation is there. No. The Srishti Shrutis are made use as the means to make you discover your Swarup. It's a very famous statement. Upaya Sovatara. Keep in mind. When somebody says you can just tell this, they will get, oh, so much of study of Gaudapadacharya Karika. Upaya Sovatara. You can tell, yes, but you know what the meaning is. Srishti Shrutis are only a means to establish the, or introduce, or reveal what Brahma Swarupa is, and not to tell that creation is real in nature. Right? So the Upasaha, Avatara Upaha, Kathanchana, Vedaha Nasti. That is, in Brahma, that is going to be revealed, Kathanchana, in many manner whatsoever, Vedaha, Utpatyadi Krita Vedaha. The duality which seemingly appears there because of the statements of the creation. Nasti is not there at all. They are given as only means to discover or make us discover, reveal what Brahma is. In reality, it is not to tell that Srishtis are really there. Creation has really taken place. If creation has really taken place, you are stuck up. Like the milk becoming curd got stuck up. It can't become milk up. Once upon a time you are what? Sat Brahma, now you are a samsari jiva. Accept it. No, this is not so. Even now, when I appear to be a samsari jiva, in reality, I am nothing but a samsari Brahma only. But somehow I have had a wrong notion. That wrong notion can be removed, and that is why moksha is possible. Bhashya, Brul, Loha, Vispuling, etc. 151, line 3.
मृल्लोह विस्फुलिंगादि दृष्टान्तोपन्यासैः सृष्टिः या चोदिता प्रकाशिता अन्यथा अन्यथा च सः सर्वः सृष्टिप्रकारः जीव परमात्मैकत्व बुद्ध्यवताराय उपायः अस्माकम्.
By these Shruti statements of creation, Vrit, Loha, Visfulinga, all from the Chandogya, these illustrations are given there. From mud, many pots are being made, but what is there is reality, mud only. From iron, many instruments are born, but made, but what reality is only what? The iron only. From fire, many sparks emerge, but reality is fire only. That way. Brulloha Vispulinga means fire particles, sparks. Adi Drishtantopanyasai, by the explanation of such illustration, Ya Srishti Cha Udita. Whatever Srishti, creation, Udita means what? Meaning is given. Prakashita, revealed, described. How? Anyatha. A different way. Saha, Sarvaha, Srishti Prakaraha. Sovataraya, Saha, Avataraya Upaya. Saha, what is the Saha? Srishti Prakaraha. That mode of Srishti is what? Jiva Paramatmaikatva Buddhyavatārāya. Avataraya, to bring down, introduce, reveal what? Jiva Paramatmaikatva. Buddhi. Buddhi means knowledge. To reveal the knowledge of identity between Jiva and Paramatma. Upayaha asmakam. Asmakam Vedantina. The way how Vedanta functions. The upaya is only means, not in reality. Shruti has what? Creation has taken place. For which illustrations are given that such Shruti statements need to be taken secondarily and they cannot be taken primarily. In the primary sense, they cannot be taken to, for which such similar others, not similar, statements belonging to such category in different contexts are found in the Shrutis. Such statements are referred to. Continue. Yatha.
यथा प्राणसंवादे वागाद्यासुरपाप्म वेदाद्याख्यायिका कल्पिता प्राणवैशिष्ट्यबोधावताराय.
This refers to in Chandogya earlier is there. See, among the Indriyas, once there is a discussion as to who among us is the most exalted one. This is differently it is said. So at that time, so what is this? The story is told there. Prana Samvad Yatha, just as Prana Samvad. That is Vagadyasura Papma Vedadhyakaika. So what happened? Each, see, there was a story for to serve purpose. Really, it has not happened so. It's not history. The way of narration, a figurative expression. Each Indriya started chanting Vedas. Then what happened? Asuraha, the demons in the sense, what is that? Desires, kama, krodha, etc. The demons attacked these Indriyas. As a result, Indriyas were unable to recite the Vedas. It is in this sense. Eyes have fascination for the form, ear for sound. When these are chanting, the mind gets distracted in the form, sound, etc. And when such distraction comes, chanting cannot proceed. The obstruction. That is taken figuratively as the asuras attacked these indriyas. As a result, indriyas could not recite properly. But when it came, when the turn of prana came, prana doesn't have such likes and dislikes. He started chanting uninterruptedly. Asuras in terms of like, dislike, desire, etc., anger, etc., could not intercept. So it was then what? Oh, prana is the most exalted one. This is what the story is. But this story cannot be taken literally because in different Upanishads, it differs. If it were an historical fact, same incident should be repeated in all this. But in different kalpas, different Upanishads, depending on the seeker who is in front of them, such things go on changing. So they are made use as only a means to an end and not an end by itself. So that is what is said. Yatha prana samvadi, in both Chandogya and Brihadaranyaka, such dialogue is there with slight difference. Vagadyasura, Vagadi, Asura, Papma Vedadi Akhyayika. Akhyayika, story of the attack by Asuras, demons in the form of what? So distraction, etc. In the case of organ of speech, etc., which are taken to the chanting of the Vedas. Akhyayika, Kalpita. Imagine, not true. Why it is Kalpita? Prana Vaishishtya Bodhavatārāya. To introduce Avataraya, to introduce, to reveal the Bodha, knowledge of what? Prana Vaishishtya. Vaishishtya is, that is what? Shraishtam, the exaltedness of prana. To reveal the exaltedness of prana, this story is only imagined. It is not true. Like that, really Srishti is not there. But it is told to establish the real nature of Brahma. This is what said. Now, Purva Paksha is not ready to accept this. No, sir, they are real stories. For which answer is going to be given. They are not real stories for this reason. We'll see that.
स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्याय्येन मार्गेण महीमहीषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ